everyone, and welcome to a very special interview here for the five-star Joshi Show. I'm with none other than the one and only HYAN. How are you?
Hi, good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Like we talked about right before the show. First time I got to talk to you was for Fightful, and you were about to fight Julia
Yeah,
for the New Japan Strong Women's title. Obviously, a lot has changed since then for yourself
yeah,
and in wrestling overall. But I'm so happy to have you back. You just fresh off tour in Japan again as well, which was a big thing you were talking about last time. You were like, I want to
mhm.
go back. It happened, so I
I
was like, oh,
manifested it.
you did it. It feels like the perfect time to get you on here, and I'm really appreciative of you coming on here to talk about it. So, yeah, we'll just start it off very simply. How have you been? How is everything going? Obviously, you're wrestling here, there, and everywhere. I think in the past like month, you've been on Ring of Honor and
Yeah,
TNA, which is pretty crazy.
and
Um,
Netflix.
and Netflix. Yes, I would
Yeah,
love to ask you about that project actually first because I think that's incredible. How
yeah,
did
that was so crazy.
yeah, if you can dive into that, like how did that come about and like, just tell people more about the project cuz again, when I saw you post about it, I was like, "Whoa." Like
Yeah, so
Netflix is
it
crazy.
it came out like it happened so quickly and then also so randomly.
Yeah.
So I don't ever get on Facebook because not great. But the
Sure.
few times that I actually ever like get on Facebook,
Mhm.
I saw someone tagged me on this post and I just looked at it and it was like a casting call for they were looking for wrestlers in the Houston area and it was so vague and the post looked kind of like janky. It didn't look like legit or anything, but I was like, okay, I'll take a look at this. And I even sent it to some of the guys that I train with. I was like, hey guys, like just if you guys are interested,
Mhm.
apply. And so I filled out this little kind of like Google Doc for them and sent over some pictures and like matches. And I heard back the next day and they're like, yeah, we want to cast you immediately. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is quick. Like, and they're like, we're filming starts in like 2 weeks. I was
That's
like,
crazy.
okay. Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know what it was for.
Mhm.
It wasn't until I got the script for the day and it was like, oh, this is for Netflix, the show called Mo. And I was telling my aunts about it and my mom, and my aunt's like, you're not gonna be on Mo? And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, I love that show. I was like, I've never watched it. She's like, you should watch it. It's really good. And like turns out like a couple of my cousins have watched the show. Um,
That's crazy that
yeah,
kind of just
and
worked out that way.
yeah, so it was just so random and I really just didn't know what to expect. It was like my first time ever on like a proper film set.
Right.
And so I showed up and it was really cool because I got my own trailer
That's
and
pretty awesome.
yeah, and then so fun fact, so the lady that did my makeup for um our film day, I can't remember her name, but she does makeup for Star Wars.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like she does all the makeup for Mandalorian, and so when she was asking me what I was doing today, I was like, "Yeah, I'm a wrestler." And she goes, "Do you know Mercedes? Do you know who Mercedes is?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Who doesn't? And
That's
she's like, "Oh
funny.
yeah, I met her in the Mandalorian. I did her makeup on there." Because
Wow.
I guess she was the only other wrestler that she knew. So I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And
That is cool.
we spent all day going over like this like small little montage scene.
Mhm.
Um, and it was so much fun. It was so
Yeah.
much fun, and then I had to do all of my stuff with, like, a stunt double, like
Okay.
Mo's stunt double, and then Mo came in later on because he had to film, like, other parts in, like, different parts of the city. So they're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, when Mo comes in, you're gonna have to, like, we're gonna have to do it really quickly because he has to jump off to another set," and I was like, "Okay." So he was really nice when he came through. Um, I did, like, a little, like I think I gave him, like, a splash in the corner, and I was trying to be really, like, soft and light with him because
Right.
he's not a wrestler, and he, like, grabbed me and he's like, "You can hit me a lot harder." I was like, "Okay."
You asked for it.
Yeah, so I was just like, "Alright, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
give it to you like I would anyone else," and he's like, "Okay, that's good." And they had me put him in, like, different holds and stuff, and I put him in one hold, and he was like, "Oh, that hurts."
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, is that, like, trying to figure out, like, "Oh, I don't wanna hurt this," you know,
Yeah, and it was
that
so funny
famous
because
person.
they
It's
didn't,
like,
like
at all.
yeah, yeah, and they I was like, "So what do y'all want me to do in this,
Yeah,
like, ring?" And they're like, "Whatever you want." I was like, "Okay, so I can just, like, come up with the spot? Like, it doesn't have to be." So I came up with, like, 2, 3 different spots to
yeah,
just do with the stunt double. Um,
that's crazy.
yeah,
You
I
essentially had
thought
to
they were
do a
gonna tell me
match
what to do. They're
for a
like, "No, you
Netflix
do it."
TV show. You had to put parts of a match together for a Netflix show, like, "Oh, yeah, go ahead. You know what you're doing." I like
Yeah.
that. That's pretty good. I mean, you're gonna know probably better, you know, you're the
Yeah.
wrestler after all, so I
Yeah,
get that.
the only thing they ever, like, specifically asked for was, like, "Can you give him a" they didn't know what it was called there. I was like, "A stink face?" They're like they're like, "Yeah, if he's in the corner, can you, put your butt in his face or something?" And I was like, "A stink face?" And they're like, "What is that?" And I showed them, like, a video of, like, Rikishi, and they're like, "Yeah, that would be so great, that'd be so funny."
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not I guess it's not shocking they didn't know exactly the term "stink face" when
Yeah,
it comes, because like you said, the only wrestler they knew was Mercedes or
yeah,
the makeup one, so
yeah, and they wanted me
that's
to give
funny
him,
though.
like, a body slam too, but they
That's
didn't
kinda what
end
I
up
expected.
yeah, but they didn't end up using it on the show, but, like, yeah, I give him a body slam because 'cause they're like, "It would be so funny because, like, it's a girl body slamming him." So I was, like, with the stunt double, like, "Get light," because he was, like, way bigger than me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, "I
So,
can't pick
uh
you up for real, dude."
yeah, you gotta give me a little help here. That's, part of the game. I was expecting, like, body slam and a headlock, like, that's
Yeah.
the 2 things they'd ask just out of default, but they asked for a stink face, and
Yeah, they
they didn't even
specifically
use the
asked for
body
stink
slam.
face.
That's crazy. Well, that's great to hear. Everyone can check that out, obviously, over on Netflix. Wrestling and Netflix, big thing all of a sudden this
Yeah.
past couple of months. Did you watch Queen of Villains,
I
by the
haven't
way?
wa oh, wait, I did, I binge watched
Yes.
it right before I went to Marvelous, actually, and
Oh,
it was
good
cool
time.
because a lot of the actresses, they would go to the Marvelous shows.
Yes,
They went
yes,
to
I've
Chigusa's, birthday show as well.
yeah, Chigusa actress, Erica Carrata. I feel like
Mhm.
Chigusa brings her around all the time now. It's like
Yeah, she's been to a
that's
few
fun little
shows.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I'm like, "Right, this show is about Dump Matsumoto," but it feels like it was also about
It feels
Nagayo
like it's about
versus Ma
Chigusa.
Yeah, I was like every time I think of it, it's like, "Oh, right, that wasn't about Chigusa technically, like, it was about Dump, but it was both of them in many
Yeah,
ways, which is
yeah,
so good about it. But yeah, let's talk about your return to Marvelous, obviously, like I said last time when we talked, you said you wanted to go back to Japan. That was
yeah.
in 2023. Well,
Mhm.
you got back there for about 2 months, you got a title shot. You did a lot in your
Yeah,
time back there. Like, if there was a checklist, I feel like you had to check off so many different things.
yeah.
Let's we can keep it general first. Just how was your tour back? How much did you love being back over there and part
It
of,
was
it all?
incredible, and it was so funny because the last time I was there was 2019, and obviously
Mhm.
so much has happened since then,
Yeah,
but going back, I was like, everything's exactly the same. Like, even the house, like, everything's the same. It even smells the
yeah.
same. And, yeah, so I remember I got there and, I just was, like, walking around the dojo, I was walking around the house, and I was like, "Literally everything has stayed the same." Like, it was so,
That's
like,
crazy.
really cute, actually.
Mhm.
And it was also really interesting because some of the girls had moved out of the house, like, Takumi wasn't living there anymore, Chigusa wasn't living there anymore, Mia wasn't living there anymore, so it was like, and there was yet less, like, young girls there at the time.
Okay.
I think whenever I was there last time, it was, like, 3 or 4, and this time there was
Mhm.
2, and they've debuted now,
Yes,
and,
we'll talk about them.
yeah,
They're
dude, it
getting a
was so
lot of,
cool.
excitement lately.
And yeah, it was just, like, happy to be back, like, excited to be back in Japan, but also, like, everything had stayed the same, even, like,
Yeah.
training was the same for the most part,
Okay. Yeah,
and
that was gonna be my first thing, like, did training change up, or was it
um,
similar?
slightly, It's like a running joke between, like, I guess the foreigners and I guess and some of the Japanese girls, because we go anytime Mio runs training, it's like, oh, you're about to just like go through it. So and we would be like, so who's running? No, wait, who's running training today? Oh, Maria's running training. Okay, okay. They're like, who's running training today? Mio. Oh, fuck. We're gonna have to like die today.
Yeah, Mio's the most energetic wrestler just to
She's
watch
really
as a
competitive.
fan. Is she?
She's really
Okay, that's
competitive. Yeah.
interesting. About everything?
Yes, but mostly wrestling.
That's good. That's good. I mean, you could tell though, like her effort level and just
Yeah.
any match she has, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Um, so when she's training, that's the scary day.
Yeah.
That's the oh
That
boy, here we
typically,
go.
yeah. You're gonna start off running a mile, you're gonna be carrying people up 3 flights of stairs, you're gonna be doing hill sprints, and then you're
Oh
still
my
gonna do the
gosh.
in-ring stuff.
And okay, and do all of like is it Takumi, Mio, Maria? Are they the main ones leading trading
It's
from day to
usually
day?
it's usually, Mio, she does most days, and
Okay.
then some other days Maria will usually run it.
Oh,
There
cool.
at Takumi doesn't usually run training. She
Okay.
usually will kind of like watch, and
Mm,
if something's going on, then she'll, put her 2 cents in.
yeah.
We did
So
have
she's
like
in the
a
Chigusa
little,
role,
yeah, yeah,
in many
yeah,
ways. Okay.
yeah.
That's cool.
And it's so funny because to hear like the young girls, you're like, ask them who your favorite wrestler is. They have no idea who like Stone Cold Steve Austin is or like The Rock. But if you ask them their favorite wrestler, they're like Takumi.
Yeah.
You're like,
That's awesome.
that's cool. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's like that's crazy for some people to hear, but like for me, that's like, oh, that's awesome. That means,
Yeah.
I obviously a lot of them look up to Takumi and hearing like, she just kind of watches and like, I'll do this and this maybe, from time to
Yeah.
time. I
And
love
then
that.
I didn't know like the Marvelous Dojo had like a reputation for being like a difficult dojo to get through.
Mm,
Cause I think one of my last shows before I went to Japan, I think it was DPW, and I was talking to Shoko and Emmy
mhm,
before after the show, and I was telling them, "Oh yeah, like I'm going to Japan, blah blah blah,"
yeah.
and they're like, "With what dojo?" I was like, "Marvelous," and they're like, "Oh, Marvelous
That's
Dojo's
funny.
really hard." They said Marvelous and Sendai Girls, very hard dojo, very hard. And I was
That's
like,
not
"I can see it."
surprising when you
Yeah,
think
not
about it,
surprising at all.
who runs those 2 dojos? Yeah. I
Yep.
could see that. I could see
Mhm.
that. That's funny that they're the ones giving those reactions though. It's not
Mhm.
it's if you're gonna listen to anyone, it's Emmy and,
Yeah.
Shoko. They would know. But, yeah, I mean, it c is it do you find it difficult as someone who's been there now twice and it's obviously similar from both
So
tours?
I think I have like a very different perspective than most
Sure.
because when I well, I've only ever been with Marvelous, right? So I don't have
Yes.
any experience like at another dojo with like another
Mhm.
company. But I know most foreigners when they like Americans when they go over for another country or another
Yeah.
company, they don't usually are doing like dojo training. They're usually doing shows, right? And they're there for
Yeah.
2 weeks or whatever it is, and they're doing shows. So I get the unique experience of being to like actually train every day.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not even that it's necessarily like hard. Like you're not doing the
Yeah.
craziest things ever. They're not like do a backflip from the top rope. Like we're not doing that.
Right.
But it's literally just perfecting really small
Yeah.
things
Mhm.
every day. Every day it's the
Mhm.
same thing, but you're just tightening everything up.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different whenever you have like girls that haven't debuted,
Mhm.
um, because a lot of everyone's attention is to getting them ready. Whereas if everyone is already debuted and has a little bit experience, you can kind of do a
Yeah.
little bit more advanced training. So a lot of it was us helping the young girls too, which was really cool
That
as
is cool.
well. Like it's cool to be able like the other girls look to you and they go,
Yeah.
"Hey, can you help them with this?" And you're just like, "Oh
Right.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course."
that's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, you must in many ways, you have to kind of feel proud of that,
Yeah.
for for being able to help them. Obviously, like you said, they've both debuted, so we can talk about them. Sanka and Sora.
Yeah.
They both kind of stormed onto the scene. A lot of excitement from them. The first two Marvelous trainees since I believe iHozan was the
Yeah.
last one before them. So it's been a long time
Mhm.
because iHozan's been around for a couple of years now, and she's been doing a great job. Were you were you there for Sora's debut?
I was there for both of their debuts,
All right, yes, because
but
Sanka's
I was
was
there
on the big
for,
show.
Sora's protest. Senka had already had her protest by the time I had
Yes,
gotten there, but she
yes.
hadn't had her first match yet.
Okay, yes, and Sanka debuted against Sari, while Sora debuted against was it Aja Kong?
Aja Kong
Yeah, that's
in Cork
crazy.
and Hall.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I remember when they announced the Sanka debut, I was like, "Okay, she's
Mhm.
debuting against Sari, that's a pretty big deal." Sari's kind of the one making all the waves right now,
Yeah.
and then they did Aja Kong for Sora, I was like, "Alright, that"
Do you wanna
you
hear
know,
something so funny about that?
I would love to.
So, I was at the dojo when this happened, and so all the other girls like Mio, Takumi,
Mhm.
Maria, Rico, they all know who Sora's wrestling, but, like, she
Sure.
doesn't know.
Oh, no.
So, we're in training, we're all in the ring, and Mio gets her phone out, which I already knew was like, "Oh, this is gonna be bad." And they they tell her, they're like, "Yeah, so you're" she knew she was gonna have her first match, in Cork and Hall. So she already knew that
Which
part.
is amazing.
Yeah, and then they go,
Yeah.
"So you're gonna wrestle, your first match is gonna be against" drum roll, uh, Aja Kong, and there's a video of it somewhere. I'm sure they put it up
Yeah.
on the internet at this point.
Yeah.
But Sora just goes, "Ah," she, like, puts her face in her shirt and just starts crying
Oh my
for
god.
I'm not joking, like, 10 minutes. She's, like, weeping, standing in the middle of the ring. All the girls are laughing at her. Mio's, like, recording her. Mio grabs her and tries to start, like, chain wrestling with her,
Yeah.
and Sora is just not having it. She literally just has her, like, covering her face, she's just crying, and Mio's out here trying to wrestle her and laughing at her while she's crying, and all the girls are just like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha." And so they had to get her ready for that, and, they ended up, calling Vinny in to be like, "Vinny,
Mhm.
you are gonna play the role of Aja Kong in this." And just to help her
That's a
kinda
tall
get used
task
to.
for anyone.
Yeah.
Wow. That I was gonna ask you, like, funny stories from, like, training or anything that I don't know if you're gonna beat that. That I mean, I
There's
feel
so
bad for
many.
Sora, but
Literally, anytime we're in training with Mio,
yeah,
it's a good time.
yeah.
Because
Even though
she
she makes you guys go in the training, like,
yes,
she's like, "Ah,"
yes.
but
She's very, like she's super hardworking.
mhm,
There's nobody no one that I know that works harder at wrestling than Mio does, but
yeah,
she's also incredibly funny, and she has, like, the best, like, comedic timing, um,
I
of
can
all
believe that.
time, and I just love how everyone like, literally everyone at Marvelous has, like, such great sense of humor.
Mhm.
Everyone, doesn't mind getting, like making fun of you, but you can also make fun
Yeah,
of them back and no one's gonna get offended.
sure.
Um, it was really cool, like, we had a few really cool moments at the dojo, like, Chigusa bought herself a new car, a Porsche,
As she
um,
deserves.
as she deserves, yeah, she's like, "This is a gift for myself for my 60th birthday,"
Nice.
and, she drove it up to the dojo. Training immediately stops. Training's over. She pulls up in her Porsche and shows off her Porsche to everyone. And we're all like, wow, like that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then she's like letting each of us go into the driver's seat and like pretend that we're driving. And she's like, yeah, go ahead. And we're like, wow, so cool. And then she just drove off, like literally just came just to show off her Porsche and then left.
That's amazing. That's like the ultimate flex from an all-time great, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, like, that's a legend that's like, "Yeah, look at my new car."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, she literally just came in, "What this is my new car. So cool."
Oh, she's awesome. I it kinda brings me to I have to ask about working with Chigusa Nagayo in any form because
Mhm.
for anyone that doesn't know, and if you listen to the show, you know at least a bit. Because if you listen to a Joshi show, you know who Chigusa Nagayo is.
Mhm.
But you know, this is a legend. This is one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all
Mhm.
time, right? And you get to work with her. I mean, you get to get in her Porsche. Big like that's
Big
different
one.
level, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and you know, this is also you're going over there at a time where, like we said earlier, Queen of Villains is big, and that kind of has led to I don't know if everyone's been noticing, but that's kind of led to a lot of excitement overall in all
Yeah.
of Joshi. You know, that has pushed like I've seen the Marvelous shows, those shows are packed,
Mhm.
and there's just so much excitement around Marvelous and Sendai and Starda, like the list goes on and on and on. Like Joshi's just doing so great. So just getting the chance to train and learn and talk with Chigusa Nagayo, like what is that like for you as obviously a student of pro wrestling and you know knowing what she's done and the matches she's had? Because like for me, watching Queen of Villains, I'm watching, you know, her life on a big
Mhm.
screen. So obviously like not everything's to like exact truth, but a lot of it is. And it's like, you
Mhm.
know, just it's surreal to know that she's lived that life. And
Yeah.
now she's driving up to practice to show off her Porsche and then leaving.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Like,
It's
what is
it's
that
like
like to
it's
talk
so
and learn from her?
crazy because like the first day that I got there, um, I get there and Chigusa's like, "I'm so sorry, like I can't uh like talk right now," because she was getting ready to do an interview for some TV show. Like Minoru
Okay.
Suzuki was at the dojo randomly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because she was getting like as soon as she walked in the door, the girls are like changing her. Like she's just standing there. They're putting clothes on her. She's getting ready to do this like TV interview to talk about Queen of Villains.
Mhm.
And we have literally like cardboard cutouts of the actresses in the dojo, and we have like fans that will walk up to the dojo because they're
Okay.
fans of the show. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We have to stop training and be like, you can't really like sit here and watch training, my guy. But
right.
um, yeah, like you could tell there's definitely a lot of energy about it. There was a lot of days where
Yeah.
Chigusa just couldn't be there because she was just doing a bunch of interviews
Okay. Well, that
and
makes
getting
sense.
gifts from fans. And yeah, it kind of created a bit of a whirlwind. She was
Mhm.
like, I even asked her, I was like, "Are you famous?" And she goes, "Yeah."
She's so famous. Like that's something like I I don't know if people realize before maybe they watch that show how famous Chigusa
Mhm,
Nagayo is, right?
mhm.
Because if you watch Marvelous, she's just you know
Like
she's
she's
just
on
on
commentary,
commentary.
just having a good
Yeah,
time.
right. And like every time I see her, I'm like, do you know? Like you're Chigusa Nagayo.
Exactly. It feels like it honestly, it feels like 2 different people
Yeah,
because
I can believe that.
I can appreciate and see everything she's ever done,
Hmm.
but sometimes you forget that that's also her because she's become so familiar, you know?
Yes,
And, like,
right.
I've seen her, as a teacher and, like, I kinda just see her as, like, my mom almost. She's actually the
Yeah.
same age as my mom. I was like, "You could be my mom." And, yeah, so I see, like, a very different side of her.
Hmm.
Um, she's a lot like, she's very sweet, kind woman, and I know, like, when she first started or just, like, when she was younger, she was a lot like, just the reputation that Joshi from the '90s has, right?
Of
Like,
course.
super
Yeah.
intense, and you hear these stories like, "Oh, she used to be like this, she's so intense, blah, blah," and then, like, I see her and I'm like, that's my mom, I'm gonna go hug her," you know? "What do you mean she was killing people back then? I don't see
Right.
that."
Yeah, that's similar to, like, what you hear about, like, Dot Matsumoto, for example. You
Yeah,
hear, like, a lot of nice stories about her, like, outside of the ring, but in the ring, she's the most fearsome wrestler, you know,
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
It's like it's great. Like, you can forget those things, and it's like
The
one of those things you
dichotomy of
stress,
it
like
all.
yeah, like, these are people.
Yeah,
It's, you
they're
know,
people, yeah.
they're just really good at what they do, and
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
and it's like when, Nagayo wrestled, in West Coast last year. I was like,
Mhm,
again, this is Chigusa Nagayo wrestling, you know, probably her last match in America ever. Like, this is
mhm,
crazy,
mhm.
and it's just, like, one of those amazing things. So it's amazing to hear, like, for you, she's like, "Oh, she's just kinda like mom to me."
Yeah,
But,
and she
like, for
is.
me, that's like, "Whoa." Well, like, okay.
Yeah,
Lucky
but then
you.
you
You
see
saw
obviously,
Chigusa
like
Nagayo mom.
yeah, and, like, whenever you, you go to shows and you just see, like, the younger talent, like,
Yeah,
all the respect that she gets
right.
everywhere she goes, you're just like, "Dude, that's so cool. I wanna
Yeah,
be like you."
exactly. Like yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you just like see her and it's like, what a life. I mean, clearly it
Yes,
seems that
literally
way.
God tier. Like, when she comes out of the car, the young girl's
Yeah.
already like, especially if it's raining,
Hmm.
like, she'll come out of the car, the young girls are holding the umbrella for her as she walks
That's
from her
amazing.
car to the venue. They're getting soaked,
Right. There's
but
so
they're
much
holding the
respect
umbrella
there.
for her. They're carrying
Like,
all her stuff as she's, like,
yeah.
going in. I was like, "Oh, what a life."
It's like anytime I see marvelous wrestlers, it's like they love her so much. Like,
Mhm.
just you could just tell.
Yeah.
There's so much respect there. I mean, my fa like, one of my favorite things with her, even the past year, was when she was in the Noah GHC women's title match, and,
Yes.
like, you just get the roar of, "Oh my god, it's Chigusa Nagayo," and I'm
Yes.
watching her, I'm like, "Well, I know she's not gonna, like, win because 'cause that'd be crazy," and then she, like, just got out of the ring. She's like, "I was just here for the pop," like, type
Yeah.
of thing, like, that's the
She's
way
like,
I look at it,
I
it's
have bad
deserved.
knees. What
Yeah.
what is this?"
I was like, "That's deserved. She should get the pop," and then just be
But
like,
that's
"Alright."
like how it's so funny because like, whenever you're like all the Marvelous girls, like, everyone loves her, right?
Yeah,
Obviously. She calls us all her daughters. She goes, "These are my daughters. These are my sons," like, the people that go like, we're she
yeah,
treats us like her actual kids, and it's
that's
super
amazing.
cool.
That's amazing. She seems like the best, just the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Um well, we could talk more kind of about your time there, obviously, as much as
Yeah.
I love talking about Nagayo. You did get to challenge for the AAA tag titles, and I believe your last match before you came home. You
Yes.
teamed with Jesse Jackson to face what I thought was the best tag team in the world last year, Mio Momono and Eureka Oka. I say their team name so many times, Bo Momo Banana.
Yes.
Um, how was that match for you? Obviously at Cork and Hall, just big time tag title match. Like that's I mean, that's amazing, and obviously you guys are right before Nagayo's big main event, which,
Mhm.
was its own big thing
It was
with
yeah.
yeah, Bushi and Tanaka and Takumi and Leo and Titus. So like how was it for you to get to challenge for a championship in Cork and Hall on a show that, of course, was as big of a deal as it was?
It was like, every second of that day, I had to, like, remind myself, like, "This is real." Like, we're
Yeah.
actually wrestling in Cork and Hall for a title match on and it's Chigusa's birthday show. Like, and
Right.
it's packed in here, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, that was a packed
Kota
building
Ibushi's
back.
on this card, that's wild.
Yeah, like, I I've had the wonderful opportunity to talk to a number of wrestlers who have done the my first Cork and Hall
Mhm,
moment, which is, again, like just knowing Chigusa the way you do, like, just being able to compete there. But you add in the title match, and it's
mhm.
like, that's big, and you're fighting, like you said, Mio, who is one of the hardest worker, you said
She's my
specifically.
Japanese wrestling rival.
Yeah, I know.
Officially, like, even Mio says it, she's like, "You are my American
That's
wrestling rival."
amazing, though. Like, what
Yeah.
a and obviously, you guys click so well in the ring, so that's
Mhm.
part of the reason why. Once you got past the, "Okay, I'm wrestling at Cork and Hall, it's a title match," and you just got out there, like, do you remember the match, or is it one of those things where it's like, I was it just kinda happened, and I was, like, almost like, I was blacked out, like, once it
There
was
there
over, yeah, that was great, but
there's so many moments, yeah, that I have remembered because, like, I remember I came in, we did our entrance, and I look at Jesse, and
Mhm.
Jesse's like, "This is crazy," like, like, their music is playing, and I'm looking at Jesse, she's like, "Dude, this is crazy, I was like, "Are you soaking it in right now?" She goes, "Dude, this is insane." She's just looking around, and then they do their entrance, and they come through the crowd, and I look at Jesse, I was
With the
like,
Minions
"Wait, I
theme.
didn't" yeah, with the music, I was like, "I didn't know we could do that." I was like, "They didn't tell us they were doing that." So we're
Yeah.
just watching, like, their whole entrance getting hype, and we're just standing there nervous. Um, and yeah, like, I remember certain parts and, like, us talking about the match and just, like, I always feel super comfortable with Mio just because
Mhm,
we've wrestled so many times and we train with her and I just trust her with everything.
mhm,
Um, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go hard. We're gonna go crazy.
yeah,
And it was a really, really, it's honestly one of my favorite matches.
yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you, like, is that a match you're gonna, like, just bring with you forever? Because like
Yeah, it's like, and even like, and the match itself was really good, but
right,
just like all the emotion and everything going into it as well, like,
mhm.
this is insane.
Yeah, was it is it like one of those moments, like, "This is why I do this" type thing, like, was happening?
Yeah, yeah, and I was just like, this is like, no one can ever take this moment away from me. You know,
Mhm,
like, I get to live
yeah,
with this for the rest of my life, and this is like such a beautiful, like, bucket list thing just to check
right,
off, you know, like,
yeah,
because it was my first time wrestling in Cork Hall. Whenever I
right,
was there, the first time for Marvelous, they didn't have a Cork Hall show. They had like a bigger show in Yokohama.
mhm,
And I remember asking Chigusa actually, when we did the Yokohama show, I was like, why no Cork Hall? And she goes, no pyro in Cork Hall. Pyro here. And I went, amazing. Truly amazing.
that's incredible, that's what a great reason.
Yeah, she's like,
I
yeah, we
was
can't do pyro there.
like, I was sitting here waiting like, "Oh, you know, it was booked." Like, something simple. No, no
Yeah.
pyro. Alright. I mean, but it's incredible you got that opportunity, obviously getting to wrestle Mio and Oka, which, you know, the most
They're so
energetic
good.
tag team. They're just they're so in sync. They just go and,
Yeah,
like,
they are
they don't
great.
have a motor.
Like,
Like,
they know who they are.
yeah. I watched last weekend when they had 3 matches when Mio unfortunately got hurt,
Mhm.
and, like, she got hurt in her first match of the day, and then had, like, this full-on final sequence with, Sonoko, and just it was great, and then she
Texas
wrestles
Mia.
later. Yeah, and then she wrestles later, and she unfortunately gets hurt, and it's like, you know it because, you know, Oka's tagged in the rest of the match, but she's still trying to help. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Mio, what are you doing?" And
Yep.
it's like she's still, like, kinda doing a little bit of everything, it's like, what
She's
like,
crazy.
she is, but she's incredible, and,
Yeah, she's the
you
best.
know,
I love her to death. I would literally do
y
anything for her.
that's who I was gonna ask you about Mio. We've talked a lot about Mio, but just, like, more about your relationship with her. Obviously, she considers you her rival now, which is great, and I think we
Mhm.
need another singles match
I
between you
think so
2
too.
soon. I was kinda hoping that was maybe over WrestleMania weeks, but
We'll
obviously
see.
the injury, I think, probably keeps her
Yeah, I
out,
think she's
but
out
it's gonna
3 months or something.
yeah,
I
3
think she just had surgery.
yeah, she
So
had surgery today, I think, which
yeah.
was successful that Nagayo announced, so that's good.
Mhm.
But I think we do need that singles match, but, just tell us a little bit about your relationship with Mio, who just, again, sounds like, you know, the just
She
amazing.
is Chucky. She is the human form of Chucky. She
That's
loves
terrifying.
Yes. She's very competitive, she's very funny, um, like, in Japanese and in English, because sometimes humor doesn't
Mhm.
really, like, come across, like, across different
Oh,
languages.
her humor comes across.
Yeah, her humor comes across really well.
Yeah.
Um, we love to mess with her. She was like, "Why does everyone call me Chucky?" And we go, "Because you're crazy. That's why." Even Chigusa calls her Chucky. She goes, "She's Chucky." Um,
That's
but
amazing.
she brings out, like, I think her and Masha have this, like,
Mm,
energy about them that, like, when you are wrestling them, they get you excited to wrestle. Just talking about wrestling with them, they get you excited, and, it's almost like you don't even get blown up when you wrestle them
mhm,
because you're just excited and your energy is so high during the match that they bring out the best in people, I feel like, and that's a
yeah,
really unique quality to have that not a lot of people I can like literally on one hand, the only people I can really think that really bring that energy out of you is like Mio and Masha.
that's high regard, you know, because
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up Masha, you know, just before we kinda get to everything else you're doing, because you do a lot, you know, you've like I said, you've been very busy as of late. Um, but before we get there, like, in terms of your trip, you did get a chance to compete in Pro Wrestling Noah, which
I
is
did
as
Monday
part of Monday
Magic.
Magic, which is incredible. Um,
Mhm.
like as we were talking about, and as you said on Twitter, you said, I think this is true. You're the first to do New Japan, Noah, and soon to be Dragon Gate as part of WrestleMania week. I
Yes.
mean,
Like,
if that's
I
not
don't
every
think I don't think people understand, and it's really hard as, like, a women's wrestler, and I don't think a lot of guys understand this, is, like, I would love to be able to get in the ring with people like with Zack Sabre Jr. He's my favorite wrestler of all
Mhm.
time. Or like Will Ospreay, right? I would love to just
Right.
have a match. But because the way wrestling is,
Mhm.
that's very unlikely to happen, right? Because
Right.
I'm a woman and they're men. Whereas men, that's like a very reasonable goal is to be like, I would love to have a match with Will Ospreay. Like that can
Right.
happen, right?
Yeah.
And with for the longest time, the door to wrestle on New Japan, Noah, Dragon, it's always been closed because it's for men and it's
Right.
very segregated with men and women in Japan. So to be able to do that, like as a
Mhm.
woman, and then also like an American woman, I'm not, in the sphere, like in
Right.
Japan, it to me, I'm like, that's a huge accomplishment. And if no one else notices it, I notice it. I'm happy for my own damn self.
When I saw the Dragon Gate announcement, that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, "Hold on. This is like I don't know if anyone's realizing this, like, this is history, like, this
Yeah,
is
I'm like, pay
a big
attention,
deal."
people.
Yeah, like, there's a reason you're getting these opportunities, so congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You obviously did get to take part in that Monday Magic show. You teamed with Miyuki Takase and Sadie Gibbs to face Bozilla, Kokimare, and Natsumi Shizuki of Marigold.
Mhm.
Um, what was that experience like? Obviously, it's a Mystery Vortex style
Mhm.
show, so, like,
Mhm.
no one knows what to expect, you
Yeah.
know? Obviously, you're wrestling 3 wrestlers who I you've never faced before, correct?
Right,
I'm
yeah,
not
they're all
mistaken.
marigold.
Yeah, yeah, and I know Shizuki has been around, like, beforehand, but the other 2 are very new, wrestlers. Like, just what was that experience like, 1, being in front of a Noah crowd, in the Mystery Vortex Monday Magic world, which is very exciting. It's one of the more
Yes.
most enjoyable things I think any company does in Japan. Um,
Yes.
and then, competing against 3 new wrestlers because I think that's always very fun too.
Yeah, so, like, honestly, I wish more shows did, like, Monday Magic, 'cause
Yeah.
it's such a cool, interesting concept of, like, a
Mhm.
show on a Monday, and you don't know who's gonna be on it,
Yeah,
you
and it's in
know?
Shinjuku Face, my favorite
It's such a cool
place.
venue,
I love that
yes,
place.
and it's very, like it's very intimate crowd.
Mhm.
But it's
Yes.
louder than most regular Japanese crowds because there's actually a lot of foreigners that come to the Monday Magic shows.
Mhm.
So you'll see people that are like, "Hey, I've seen you on this show," you know, or
Yeah.
like, "Why are you here? You speak English. This is so random." You kind of just don't expect it, and you can kind of tell because they tend to be the louder group, and they
Yeah.
tend to get your attention when you're in the ring.
Yeah.
But the crowd is just eating everything up because they don't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
It's such a unique experience, but
Yeah.
it was super cool. Like
Yeah.
the Noah shows were a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's followed, like, the Monday Magic, that's where, the women started to get involved on the shows, and you can kinda see it very quickly go from the Noah fans being like, "Oh, okay," to into it. Like, every time
Yeah,
they show up now, it's like, "Oh, let's go." Like, it's one of the most exciting parts of those shows. It's like, "What's the match gonna be?" And Marvelous is very involved in that,
yeah,
alongside Marigold now, it's just kind of those 2 that, and freelancers, of course, like
hmm
Takase, who's alongside you. But I love hearing that. That's like it was just as fun as it seems, because
yeah. And you get there, you don't know who else is on the show, and you
did
just look
you
at the card and you just go, okay, this is happening. Okay, this is
you
happening.
could break me, but did you at least know when you showed up who you were facing?
Yes, I did know
Okay.
that. I did know
I
that.
I was wondering how, like, deep it went of, like, do you actually, like, get to or is it like you show up and then they're like, "By the way, you're facing"
No, you do know
Okay.
ahead of time, but I didn't know,
Alright,
like, who
cool.
else was on the card, you know?
That's cool, though.
And
That's cool.
it's really cool because it's so, like it's literally like a variety show because we
Yeah.
have, like, we have a lot of guys from Mexico that are on
Mhm.
Noah, and then you
Yes.
have, a lot of foreigners from America and Europe that are also it's just so diverse, the locker room,
Yeah.
and then, they're adding women to it, and that's what I think, like, the Monday Magic shows are so cool because it is so
Mhm.
diverse.
And you teamed with the great Sakuya at the first
Yeah,
time you were on there.
and we won!
Yeah, I don't like to break the kayfabe, but for those who know, that is Riko Kawahara, who obviously you've gotten to compete with. It's okay, I've said it a million times on the show because I remember when they were introduced, I was like, "Is that Riko?" And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's crazy." Um, what a unique character to
It is
share the
super
ring with,
cool. It
right?
is super cool. I
She's so
love it.
into it.
I think
It's
she's
incredible.
so great at
And she's
that
so
character.
talented too, so it's like,
Yes,
I
because you
get
see
why
her,
they picked her.
like yes, because like, her Rico as a wrestler is completely
Mhm.
different than,
Yes.
what she's doing at Noah, and it's just I was like, "Dang, girl, I didn't know you had that in you." It's just
Yeah.
so like, because even just in the way she moves, it's a
Yeah,
different
she's
person. It is a
it is.
different person.
I I can't explain it, but I know exactly what you mean, like, just watching, it's like, I know that's her, but it's not.
It's not, yeah.
She's
She
very good at
drops
that.
in, yeah.
It's incredible.
And it was funny because, like, I had to help Jessie take
Yep.
the mist off of her face.
Oh.
That stuff does not come off.
No,
You have to
that's scary.
scrub for a while.
Yeah, that I I mean, had you been on the other end of suffering the mist, I would have asked about that, but you kinda got to experience it. You just didn't have to have it on yourself, which I guess
Luckily,
was
yeah.
the
Yeah, I
win
had to sit there and
of it
help
all.
Jessie be like, "Okay, does anybody have any more makeup remover wipes? It's not working." Her face was, like, raw from being, like,
Yeah.
trying to scrub all the green off.
I can't even imagine, like, the going through that, but, I mean, credit to her, and obviously, congratulations again on getting both of those matches. That's amazing again. Um, Now, of course, we could talk a little bit more about coming back to the States, of course, and what you've been doing. Though you did win the Queen of Indies last year, and I feel like it would be wrong to miss out
Yes.
on that. Kind of a big deal. I'd say you beat Masha in the finals, which
It was a full
like
circle moment because she eliminated
yeah,
me in the first round the year before, and then we
mhm,
met
like
again in the finals. I thought it was a really cool story that we told there.
yeah, you went through 3 matches in one night, which
Brutal. Don't
I was gonna
recommend.
say, like, what was that experience like? And then obviously getting the big win in the end, which is amazing. But just the toll it takes on 3 matches, I think all about 10 minutes or more, which is
Mhm.
that's 30 plus minutes of ring time, and you're in the
Yeah,
finals. So it's like,
yeah.
do you feel pressure when you get into the finals after all those matches of like, okay, now we also have to elevate our game despite 20
Yes,
minutes of wrestling earlier?
yes, but I was very fortunate in that, like, I've in the ring with someone like Masha, who's
Mhm.
incredible, um, because it's like, when I tell you we didn't know what the finals were gonna look like until maybe doors opened.
Okay.
I really didn't know who I was wrestling in the finals until doors opened, like, because things had to get switched up. And,
Mhm.
I was just so happy that it was with Masha because I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, cool. You know your stuff, I know my stuff. We don't have time to really discuss, what's going on in the
Right.
ring because just time-wise." Um, but it was really crazy because it's just like you just go from one match literally straight to the next one, straight to the next. And when I won, everyone was like, "How did you feel?" I was like, I just thought to myself, "It's over. It's finally over." And then it wasn't because I had to immediately go back and change quickly because I was on a red eye. Like my flight was like at 11:30. It was like 10 o'clock
Uh,
at night when the show ended.
oh my god.
And it's like we have to hurry, get to the airport,
That's more
make her get
stressful.
on a red eye. Yeah, back
That's
to
more stressful
Houston.
than the 3 matches.
Yeah, like I didn't get any time to process because literally as soon as it was
Right.
over, change, go on the plane. Like as soon as I got on the plane, I was like, I can't believe that
What a
happened.
night. What a the night of a pro wrestler, like, to
Yes.
perfection almost. 3 matches, didn't know what was gonna happen going into it. Alright, gotta go. That's
Yep, gotta
incredible.
go. And
But
then literally
obviously,
process it all the
congratulations.
next day.
Right, right, like, yeah, congratulations though,
Thank
obviously,
you. Thank
on
you.
that.
That's literally as I tell people, like those tournament shows
Yeah.
are truly where you find out how good you
Right.
really are. If you're
Mhm.
able to put a match together really quickly and have it
Right.
come out really well, that's that's a huge thing to be able to do.
I mean, you and Masha in the final, it's a good bet to be a great
Yes.
match as is, so that helps too, you know?
Yes.
Just, before I let you go because I've thank you for all the time you've given me, but I do have 3 things I wanna hit on real quick.
Yes.
1 being your Pandemonium match. Pandemonium Pro gets Zara Zakir over WrestleMania weekend. Obviously a big time match. Both of you making waves in Japan and on the indie scene. A very exciting match as well. Um, what can we expect from that one? Because that one, like, that's one of the ones, you know, I think a lot of people, at least, or maybe just me, that's fine too. When you prepare for WrestleMania week, because it's the week of a million shows at this time and that time, and you're trying to be like, what do I want to see? That's one of the ones. And thankfully, it's Pandemonium announcing them so early, you can kind of get ahead of the
Mhm.
process. But that's
Mhm.
one of the ones I was like, oh, can't wait for that. What can we expect from you and Zara over?
Steal the show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
'Cause, like,
That was
I've been wanting to wrestle her for a really long time. Like,
mhm.
I've been wanting to wrestle her for a really long time. I watched so much of her stuff. I think she's so incredibly talented. Um, I'm kinda jealous because I was not that good when I first started wrestling, and she's still really new and is
Yeah, she's
incredible.
awesome.
So, I'm just like I've like, whenever I get to wrestle someone new, especially someone that's, like, really good, I feel like that's when my creative juices really start going. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we're gonna go crazy. We are gonna
Yeah,
go crazy."
I know everyone will be excited for that show overall. There's a
It looks like
crazy
it's the card looks like so much fun.
it does. It looks like exactly what you want from a WrestleMania week show. You know, it's
Yes.
like what craziness is here? Like Mia Watanabe's on there. I think
Shelton's
like
on the card.
Shelton Benjamin's on the card, and obviously Shelton Benjamin's been crushing it
Do you know
in
fun
AEW.
fact is, uh, Shelton was there the first time I ever got into a wrestling ring, ever, ever, ever. It was like a tryout, and he was, like, helping with this tryout. I actually saw him, maybe
That's
2 weeks
amazing.
ago because we both live in Houston,
I
and
love Shelton.
yeah, he's the best. And he was like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever." And we're just
Oh, that's
talking
awesome.
about it. He's like, "I remember when I met you 10 years ago." I was like, "I know."
Wow, that's crazy. The funny thing about Shelton is he just is so good. Like I
Yes.
say that in like feels like he doesn't even break a sweat out there when he's
Mhm.
wrestling. It's like that's and you hear the stories about Shelton. It's like, oh yeah, he doesn't have to work out. He just kind of shows up and looks like that. It's like, all right, man.
He it's crazy to me because like, whenever I grew up watching him, he wasn't, like, a big guy. Like, he wasn't considered one of the
Right.
bigger guys, and then you see him in person, and you're like, "You're massive. How
Yeah,
are
he's
you
like
considered
right.
medium-sized or, like, cruiserweight in
Right.
WWE?" Like, that's
Y-
insane to me.
I think back to when I was a kid and watched the ladder matches where he's jumping off the ladder. I'm like,
Mhm.
how now? And then seeing him now, I'm like, how did you that? That doesn't work in my brain now. It's like
Right.
what he's had so many different careers, really. You know, it's been
Mhm.
incredible to see him. And obviously, that show is The House Always Wins. I believe tickets are still available. If anyone wants to check that out in Las Vegas, April 17th, definitely go check it out. Besides, you know, like the multiple people we've named, I think Yamato and like
Mhm.
KZ from Dragon Gate are on there. I think CMLL talent are on there. Like
Yeah.
it's the show of
It's a
everything, it feels
pandemonium.
like. It is. It is. It is. You also, like we said earlier, been announced for the Dragon Gate show, one of the two that they're
Mhm.
holding, which is incredible. Um, who do you want to face on that show?
I want to wrestle some joshi talent.
That's what I was hoping. There's a
That's
lot of
what
Joshi
I
town
want.
in town.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
there
yeah.
is
I
there one
hear
if you
so
could
I
pick?
haven't. Nothing's been confirmed. I genuinely don't know who I'm facing, but I do believe that um, it may be some Stardom girls. That's what I've heard, but
Okay.
not confirmed yet. So hopefully,
They are
I'd
part
love
of that.
to get in the ring with some more Joshis.
The collective. It's not the collective. It's the Prestige DPW
West Coast.
West Coast trio that's putting on such
They
an
need a
incredible
name.
group of shows. Yeah, yeah, because I need to not call it the
The
collective because that's a
the not
different thing,
yeah
and
yeah
I feel like someone's gonna yell at me now. Uh, but it's amazing. It's an amazing lineup of shows. So I hope you get to face Joshi Town as well. You're not officially on the Marvelous show yet,
not officially not yet.
but we do need you on that show too. I
Yes,
think. I know Queen Aminata's on there. I know Masha's on there. Need you on there too. Need you to get in
yes,
there. If you could pick one Marvelous wrestler, we'll assume Mia's hurt, and well,
yes.
she is hurt. We're not assuming, but she might not be able to be on that. She's probably not going to be able to be on that show. Who from Marvelous do you want to kind of showcase your skills against if you do compete
Takumi,
on that show? Yes.
Takumi.
Okay.
So her
For
and
the
I had
belt?
yes,
Yeah, take the belt.
yes, yes. So we wrestled in a 6-man. It was like a main event 6-man for Marvelous, but we never
Mhm.
had a singles.
Okay.
And so she's just so good, dude. Like Takumi is goated.
Effortlessly.
She's
You know,
so
like
good. And
she
I hate that more people don't know how incredible she is.
she's the coolest.
Mhm.
Like when you see Takumi Iroha, you're like, oh wow, that's like the coolest wrestler ever, probably, right? And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, she is.
she's
Yeah, I
awesome.
believe that. Well, you beat me to my last question. It'd be like, who's the one opponent you want to face now? Because I feel like you've checked off so many since the last
Mhm.
time I talked to you, right? You
Mhm.
had the Julia match, you faced Emmy Sakura and DPW, which don't worry, we were going to bring that up to wrap this up. Because you kind of had a crazy match, I'm guessing that will be
Yes.
airing this upcoming weekend. Um, so you've named Takumi, you've named Mio. Is there a wrestler you haven't shared the ring with before?
Mercedes Monet. She's got the Rev Pro belts, dude. I see that she's going to House of Glory. Like, it just needs to
I,
happen.
I was hoping you said that. I feel like it does need to happen. It feels like a match that's
Would be
gotta happen.
very good.
Oh,
It would be
without
very
doubt.
good.
I I believe that.
Mercedes. No.
Yeah, once she's doing so much, like the
Mhm.
opportunity's there. So I hope you get that opportunity. Mercedes Monet and you, yeah, tear the house down. So someone needs to tell Mercedes, get in her ear. I know
I
she,
need to call
she
Andy Quilden and be like, "Hello, Mr. Andy, sir. Hello, I would like to come back to Revolution Pro, please.
I would
I
like,
would like to wrestle Mercedes Monet."
yeah, she is on a. That would be incredible. I hope that happens. I hope that happens. So we're putting it into the universe, right? Last time
Yeah,
I talked to you, you
manifesting
put
it.
going back to Japan. It happened. Now that's going to happen. That's the next thing that's going to happen. You're going to face Mercedes Monet. And I'm not saying I need any credit, but if it works out, that's 2 for 2. I'm just saying.
You're like, "Give me my
Um,
10%."
no, I'll be happy just to watch it. Honestly, that sounds incredible. So I appreciate it. But the last thing here, because should be airing this weekend, you and Danny Luna finally faced off for the DPW World Women's Championship in a crazy match. So
Yes,
I'm guessing
it was actually
because
insane.
not only was it the main event, it was a street fight.
Yes.
Without obviously, I don't know if you won or lost, but I know it's happened, and I can't wait to see it. Just how crazy was it? What you've been waiting for that match? Obviously, you've been waiting to challenge for that title. You beat Emmy Sakura, former DPW champion, to get you into that spot. Um, so just tell us a bit about what to expect when that match airs.
It's it this match is very unique in that And I was actually having this conversation a couple days ago. Like, it's a match in which I felt like I needed to step up as a wrestler,
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's not like street fights are outside of my comfort zone, right? It's not like I'm
Sure.
doing them every weekend or anything like that.
Mhm.
And I will say, like, credit to the AEW women's division. They have insane street fights. Like, the women
Yeah.
kill it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like Willow and Statlander. I was like, that's the standard now
Mhm.
for women in street fights. Like, we have to kill each other. Like, the girls on TV are
Yeah.
killing each other. We have to kill each other too.
Yeah, they went
Um,
out there to steal the show
exactly,
when they did
exactly.
that
And
match.
and I was like, this is a main event. This is my first time main eventing a DPW show. It's a street fight. It's Danny Luna. I was like, we are gonna go all out. And
Mhm.
Danny was like, yeah, let's kill each
Yeah.
other, dude. And when whenever we got out there, it was just like foot on the gas. It never stopped. Like, the craziness just never stopped. And I knew we were doing something special
Mhm.
when I looked up, because it was in Logan Square, so I could see the guys on the balcony, right?
Yep.
When I see the locker room, everyone's out there and they're all going like this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we got them, we got them, we got them. And when you're
That's
getting like
incredible.
fight forever chants, and your peers are out here looking like this, you're just like, holy shit, okay, we're
Yeah.
doing it, we're doing it. And when we got to the back, um Caprice Coleman, he does
Mhm.
commentary, and
Love
he
Caprice.
yeah, and he pulls me aside, and he was like, that was match of the year candidate. And I was like, it's only
Awesome.
February. And he goes, it doesn't matter. He's like, guy or girl, that was match of the year
Mhm.
candidate. He was like, that was a main event. And we had to follow Violence is Forever and Grizzled Young Vets. And then after that was Kozone and Luke Jacobs. And we had to follow all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud of what me and Danny Luna did. Like, I think that was like a career changing match for me. Like, what
Wow.
we did, like, I feel like
That's
people are
exciting.
really going to talk about it.
Mhm.
And like, literally, the last time her and I wrestled, we went freaking viral for her giving me the German over the top rope. Like, I was like, it's going to be, we have like multiple of those in the match, like
That's
moments like that.
terrifying.
So I'm like, this match is going to be crazy.
All right. Well, everyone can check that out
I'm not
on DP.
overhyping it.
I don't think you are. Caprice Coleman told me everything I need to know through, his own words, right? Telling you that. So,
Mhm.
everyone can check out No Pressure 2025 over on DPW on demand. I think this weekend, most likely.
Yeah,
Should
probably on
be
Sunday.
probably on Sunday. So, very much looking forward to that. Um, yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me today. This was an awesome interview. Thank you so much for giving me all the time that you did. I didn't mean to
I
hold you
have
for an
all the
hour, but
time. I'm a
I
yapper.
appreciate
I'll
it.
talk. I'll keep
Oh,
talking.
it's great. I won't I'll tell you this, I don't wanna wait as long as last time to talk to you again at all. That was
Yes.
it was too long. It was too long, and you do too much to try to capture it all into this little bubble.
Yes.
So hopefully we can talk again soon. But before we go, let the people know where they can find you on the socials and all
Socials.
that.
Instagram is the HYAN, THEHYAN, and Twitter or X is underscore THEHYAN. Give me a follow.
Awesome. Everyone make sure to go follow, especially because you have so many matches going on. It's the best way to follow along. But thank you so much to you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the full show. This is part the second half of the official podcast, but it'll be available over on the YouTube channel if you want to listen to the full thing. Everyone can check out the joshiinformer.substack.com for weekly newsletter on the world of Joshi. Me and Rob are doing our best to keep everyone informed, so we appreciate it. Thank you so much once again for joining me, HYAN. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we can do this again soon. So
Thank
long,
you.
everybody.